Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I wanted to get into a little bit more of the speed side of things. So for me, pretty much everything that I enjoy is going fast, pushing my own vehicle, doing whatever I can, and most of the stuff that I do these days is all repair work. So most of the stuff I do is something's wrong with the car. I figure out what's going on with it, and then I fix it. But I kind of want to gear more towards making cars go faster, making them perform better. Growing up, that's kind of what I was interested in, is how can you make something better that may work a certain way, but moving forward, how can you make it better? So the first step in making any car better is breathing. So any type of vehicle, it essentially is an air pump, whether it's a gas engine or a diesel engine. Obviously, the new electric motors is going to be a completely different story you're working on with electricity, which is it's a lot more torquey, quick, faster reacting, but you have to figure out how to make it not necessarily create too much energy and break things that are holding it together. But we'll stick to gas and diesel for now. So the number one thing, like I said, to start out with any vehicle is going to be air. So how do you make a car breathe better? Well, the quickest, easiest way is to clean the intake system and put a new air filter in it. One of the biggest companies in that realm is going to be K&N, and they're probably going to be the easiest access to get exactly what you're looking for. So a quick way to get more power, use a K&N filter. You know, they have studies that show it's going to add more power. Then you go into how much more power is it really going to give you? Do I need to tune it? Those sort of questions, which if you're a naturally aspirated car, meaning you don't have anything forcing air into the engine, adding a K&N filter is not really going to make enough of a difference for you to really be able to tell. So if you're a naturally aspirated car, I'm thinking more like 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders. 8 cylinders are going to be able to build a little bit more vacuum. You have 8 different cylinders sucking air into the engine. So in terms of 4 and 6 cylinders, you have to think of how is it getting air, what is sucking it in. Any engine works on vacuum. So when it creates that air coming into the cylinder, you have to look in terms of, so you have vacuum coming in when the piston comes down, and then the piston is going to compress that air, create the explosion, come down again, and that's what's going to create the power. So in terms of getting that air into the engine, the quickest, most efficient way to create more power is to force air in, either supercharged or turbocharged. So if you're looking for ways to add more power in the air realm, the quickest way is to add a turbo or a supercharger to your engine. With those, it requires a lot more maintenance. So that's going to be one of the things you need to think about, is how much am I going to maintain my car? Can I afford to maintain my car? How much is it going to cost to put a turbo or supercharger in it? There's a lot of superchargers that you can bolt on. Get a belt that you can add on as an accessory, and then use that as your supercharger going into the engine. It's going to create a little bit more flow. It's going to require some rigging to make sure that it works right, but overall that is the easiest, most efficient way to get more power quickly. People always say, you know, get a bigger intake, get a bigger exhaust. Yes, any type of breathability for an engine is going to make more power. But if you want the most significant difference in the air realm, the quickest, easiest way is always going to be force air into the engine. So it has to create more power going out. It's a cycle. So force air in, it's got to work harder. The more air you force in, the more pressure it builds, the more power and torque it builds. So turbos, they're driven by the exhaust. So you have air going in. Once you get a certain amount of exhaust pressure going out of the exhaust, it circulates and winds that turbo up. That's how it works. So you got air going out of the exhaust, winds the turbo up, the fins in the turbo redirect it back into the intake, and that's why it is a delayed acceleration. But for the most part, when it comes to air, you can always, I mean, you're not going to go wrong adding a performance air filter because it's built for quicker filtration of air. You know, your cloth air filter, it's not going to allow as much air going through there as little metal that's blocking air but allowing a lot more flow through your intake system. So those are just a couple things to think about. I'm going to talk more about it later when it comes to lubrication of the engine, when it comes to firing of the cylinders. There's a lot of other aspects that go into how you get more power, more torque, more speed. Everything is about efficiency. So your engine is engineered to certain specs. It's a certain size. It has a certain amount of horsepower, stock, whatever. These little add-ons that you can make are going to increase that in increments, but you need to start somewhere. So that's the place to start. Air filter, turbo, supercharged, get more air in, and make more power. So until next time, thanks for watching. If you're interested, follow any of my social media. Most of it is Dylan Antonio Garcia. Twitter is Dylan A. Garcia. Yeah, I appreciate you watching, and until next time.